What's going on, guys? It's Red Bull Tanker, and welcome back to HBGs, the Korean War. It is turn 11, and, well, we've got quite a bit to go over, and we're only one turn away from the end of the game, so let's go. Alright, North Korea collected 41 IPC this turn. They purchased 4 fighters. They did launch a lot of combat this turn. Over here in the east, his army out of Gangneung came down to Gwangju and destroyed the U.S. infantry unit that was defending the territory at no loss to the North Koreans. Here in the center, the North Koreans came down and hit the 5 South Korean units here in Osan. The South Koreans were destroyed. South Korea was not doing well this game, and it was at no loss. None of the 5 enemy infantry hit the attackers, so the South Koreans took Osan as well. And then over here on the west coast of Korea, the army in Incheon came down and attacked the South Korean infantry here at Choan with no loss to the North Koreans. So, complete success for the North Koreans all around this turn. They've pushed forward, pushed the line forward, and suffered no real losses along that front. Along the entire front. And then, like I said, they put 4 infantry here in Seoul, or 4 fighters here in Seoul. Odd turn, so no China movements this turn. South Korea, whoops, God. Oh, this stupid thing sometimes. Alright, South Korea collected 16 IPC this turn. They bought 5 infantry and a supply. No combats. Non-combats, just trying to get troops moved around. I did make a mistake when I threw these guys over here into Yongdok. I didn't send them with supplies, so that kind of screwed up everything for my plans for these last 2 turns. So that was very much a miscalculation on my part. And then moving supplies forward to Angdong and units and supply to Pohang. And that was that. The U.S. Alright, this turn, the U.S. collected 50 IPC plus the 42 from last turn, so they had 92. They bought 4 mech and 20 supplies. And then saved 60. Let's see here. Right? Yes, saved 60. Combat this turn. First, one of the U.S. bombers hit Pyongyang. The fighter, I did do a fighter scramble because I forgot to clarify, but I did do a fighter scramble anyways. No one hit. AAA missed, and then the U.S. got 10 damage on Pyongyang. Meanwhile, at Seoul, the U.S. went in with the bomber, 8 fighters to duel with the 8 North Korean fighters. It was actually quite the battle. But the North Koreans suffered as well from poor dice rolls, so 4 of the enemy fighters were destroyed at a cost of only 1 U.S. fighter. And then the AAA missed, and then the U.S. hit Seoul for 10 damage. Moving on, the 8th Army in Sangju went up and attacked the North Korean army in Osan. The North Koreans had 8 infantry and 8 artillery. The battle went 2 rounds, and unfortunately, the 8th Army they couldn't do it. The North Koreans lost 8 infantry and 2 artillery. The U.S. 8th Army lost 3 artillery, all 3 infantry from the 24th Infantry Division, and then they also lost 2 regiments out of the 2nd Infantry Division. So the 24th Division is out of the game, and the 2nd Infantry Division was severely depleted in the effort. And then finally, for the U.S. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, well, no, it's too late. I forgot. And then finally for the U.S. Did conduct an amphibious operation with the 1st Marines, the 3rd Infantry, and the 5th Armored. Came up here to Chungcheong, made an unopposed landing to the north of Seoul, and was able to land some mech and some supplies as well to carry out the attacks from there. Non-combat, the U.S. moved all of its fighters back to Sangju, put their bombers back in Pusan. The 7th Infantry Division with its artillery and armor arrived in Pusan. The 40th has been moved forward, though it doesn't matter because they are not going to be able to do anything this game. The UN collected 20 IPC on top of the 20 they already had. They also bought 4 mech and 20 supplies. They did 1 combat. They tried to amphibious assault on Chohan with troops from Taejon. It was a bloodbath on the beaches, though the destroyer and the battleship did the offshore bombardment. Destroyer hits on a 1, battleship hits on a 3. The battleship did score a hit. And then in the ensuing combat, 4 more North Korean infantry were lost at a cost of 3 infantry and 2 artillery. And unlike regular Axis and Ally, or at least unlike 1940, you can retreat from amphibious ops, though you just go back onto your ships. So the UN did retreat from the attack and they now have forces just sitting here on their transports in Sea Zone 3. And these planes, 2 went back to Taejon and 2 went back to the carrier. And then also non-combat, this infantry and tank got moved in from the reinforcement chart. They moved their forces forward, which won't make any effect for this game. And then they deploy. Oh, and a fighter came into the game, and then they deployed the 4 mech and the 20 supplies. All right. Well, that is going to be it for turn 11. We're moving on to turn 12. Like I said, like I keep saying, this is a fun game, but it definitely needs to have there definitely needs to be some reworkings of some of the rules and some of the other stuff. Unless we were just playing it wrong the entire time, but this game definitely needs some tweaks because, I mean, good lord, China never came into the game. It took the U.S. and the UN way too long to get reinforcements in, or at least ground reinforcements into the game to really even make a difference up and around here. And then again, there were some issues on my end about forgetting about moving supplies and stuff forward as well. So there were some errors on my end, but again, just taking 6 turns to get your turn 1 purchases into the game just doesn't seem viable for a game like this. But so that is it for turn 11, and we'll see you guys next time for the final turn on turn 12. So until then, guys, as always, take care.